Hi everyone, this is Qiuvox. In this video I actually wanted to make something different than I usually and recently do in my videos, which is I'm gonna do a complete video full, no editing, no montage, nothing whatsoever. So in that video I will show you different variations of Saryn Prime and how to use it with different setups that made around different skills of her. So we are in the training room right now. Let's go to the first setup that I'm thinking and gonna show it to you. So I have three setups which they all use 6 forma and Arcane Energize plus Grace or something else that you can put any that you want to, like that's on your choice, of your choice. So the first one, as you can see, it is called spores for the first skill. We have maximum energy, ability strength, and blind rage, umbral intensify, and power drift as a power strength. And we have ability range from stretch, augur reach for ability range again, and then overextended for ability range. We reduce our strength a little bit, but we have too much already, so we don't need to worry about it. Vitality for a little bit survivability, which is nice, and corrosive projection. But the second thing is you can actually put growing power if you want more strength, but I always like reducing the armor of the enemies actually. Even though you may ask like, oh god, Qiuvox, why you using corrosive projection on your builds? I do it because it is still so useful compared to non-corrosive builds, non-corrosive projection aura build. It is still very useful, and this is so fast. Instead waiting for the spores to break the enemy armor. So the setup, how we use it. We don't have too much duration. As you can see, our duration is 73, efficiency is 45%, and range 265, and strength is 253. So for that setup we are gonna use toxic lash and then spores. Also there's no augment mode, as you can see. So the toxic lash duration is 32 seconds, which is enough. So when it is active, it is gonna make your weapons deal toxin damage, and it doubles up for melee strikes, and also it bursts the spores when attacking the one that you put the skill on, which is this one. So spores, what does it do is making a corrosive type of element to the enemies, and the longer the spore spreads, its damage will increase. It has a 38.75 drain, 159 meter, damage second is 25, and damage growth per enemy is 5, status chance 126%, spread radius 42 meter, decay rate is 11% if everyone that dies to the spores, and reset decay is 5%. So what we actually doing with that setup, we get energy, we gonna get some enemies. I'm just gonna pause the enemies as well. So basically what you do, you put your toxic lash to your weapon, and then you affect your enemy with the spores. As you can see on the bottom right of the screen, it is 1 infected, and it is growing up the damage by 5 every second. But since you have toxic lash on your weapon right now, when you hit to it, it will burst the spores on that guy to nearby enemies. But you need some kind of weapons like that has area something like that, or puncture to get through the enemies. You know, if you hit, it will hit the whole fucking line, which will be crazy. So what we do, we activate the toxic flash, and then we just even touch that thing, and you can see 20 infected right now. And the damage growth is crazy. And it is gonna grow up eventually. And then from that point, it doesn't matter which one you hit. You can hit to that one to spread, or you can hit to that one to spread the virus. This is basically it. And this is very useful. You have survivability, you have health, you have crazy damage, and that's it. Of course, that's spores damage need to go up and up and up and up, but eventually you can see like they have an armor right now, but until the armor gone, they are gonna die actually from that damage. You can see it's still yellow, but they are dying before their armor breaks. That's why we use corrosive projection instead growing power or any other aura. So that's the first thing that you need to keep in mind. The more damage you have, the quicker their armor will break, and when it's run out, as you can see, it is now decaying. But if we have more enemy blah blah, it will continue from the damage that have left. So always keep your toxic flash on, and then always try to hit enemies and enemies and enemies and enemies the whole time. You need to hit to the enemies the whole time. Don't ever let run out your spores on the enemies. Always hit to something. Always hit to something with something else. Whatever you have, weapon or something, blah blah, etc. Whatever you have, always keep the damage up on them. Also, as I mentioned, the weapon, you need something like Ignis Rate, or like something that does an AoE damage, like Arcaplasmor could be, Phantasma could be, Sinoid Similar, it could work well, or Shadow or Kedo, whatever how this is called. You can use Shadow. You can use Basmo, the secondary fire though. You can use Basmo. That kind of weapons. You got the idea. Or Proboscis Cernos even with the secondary fire, or Shadow that does AoE. Something like that. So that's the first build that you can use with your Saryn Prime. The second, which is called Miasma, for the ultimate purpose. It has 265 range, but only difference is the power strength, which is hitting much more powerful. So let's see Miasma. Miasma drain 116 energy, 53 meter radius, damage second is 393 viral damage. Duration is 4.35 seconds, spore damage multiplier 4x. So, what I use on it? Transient Fortitude, Augur Secrets, instead Vitality, Blind Rage, Coaction Drift to push my corrosive projection aura a little bit more, and then Augur Reach and Overextended for the range, Primate Flow and Umbral Intensify for the power strength as well. This Miasma setup is for nuking the low level enemies. You can't nuke the ones that are high level. Keep in mind. And also keep in mind, this setup is not good for long survival missions as the spore ones, because the spore has vitality. Miasma is focused on more ability strength. Keep in mind. And we have Arcane Energize again. So how does it work? I'm gonna summon some enemies. Go, go, go. Actually, wait. If you do like 40 level, for example, and let's say, hey, or like what is it in Hedron, for example? I'm thinking about it. Like Butcher, for example. Yeah, let's say there's a Butcher. And you are in Hedron, yeah? So you go, and then you just put that on. They are gonna fucking wipe. They are gonna wipe. And it also has crazy range, so I'm not quite sure if it is a 40 meter here. Yeah, it is. And they die again. You can see the damage numbers there. Or you can use, let's make them a little bit higher and simulate again. So it is not gonna make too much damage. I mean, it will do still. It will kill 86 level even, but kinda slow. But if you remove the Butcher and put heavy gunner, for example, which one? Okay, that one, yeah. And make them maximum level, simulate. And when you come here, when you hit, you see there's no damage at all. But to push the damage a little bit further, you can do Toxic Dash, Spores, Spread, and then ulti. So you can see the difference right now, how actually they are melting. That's 4 times more damage than Miasma usually does. So it is better to use Miasma on low levels instead of waiting for them to die. It still hits quite hard. It's still nuke. It still nuke the map. Don't get me wrong. But the problem is that I prefer to remove and remove vitality and having even a little bit more power strength, even though from spores to miasma there's like a little bit difference. You see, it's a little bit difference, not even 10, 9, and then that 9% of strength is still better than nothing, and it's just for nuke setup. So you just go in and then you just nuke it, etc, etc, and then it is very quick. But you can combine still. You can play miasma if you are in some kind of a safe group, like if you are in long survival mission with the relic run with your friends and you have some kind of frame that plays frost or something like that, you can go out and you actually don't need vitality. But if you get damage, you are dead. In case, just so you know. So you can still play with that setup on very much end game things, but I like to always have a vitality on my build if I'm going long, and it is good that way. Anyways, you still need to combine that with spores and toxic lash. It has kind of same duration, same a little bit more damage, and then it still has a good range. The only difference is the vitality. And on my final setup, which I have, for this reason that I'm using melee, I called it melee. So melee has duration of 172%, whooping 172%, and I put the vitality back. So aura is corrosive projection again and coaction drift to give 15% aura strength and effectiveness, blind rage, augur secrets, umbral intensify, transient fortitude, For power strength, we have 322 power strength in total. We have primate flow, we have narrow-minded, 99% ability duration, but negative 66% ability range, which put us into 34% range in total. Which you may think, oh god, you shouldn't do something like that on Saryn, because you have spores, you have miasma that uses range, you know, because it has a 6.8 meter right now, miasma, which is bad. Or spores, range is 20 meter, I can put on enemy, but the spread radius is 5.44 meter, which is bad. But the thing is that with this setup is, if the things like I'm doing Sanctuary Onslaught, I go with that setup. Contagion Cloud Augment that I'm also using, create 5 meter toxic clouds dealing 300 toxin for 12 seconds with every kill. Damage is twice as strong for melee kills if I'm using melee. That's why I'm having duration narrow-minded. You may say, why you are not using primate continuity then? If I use primate continuity, I don't have space for one of the modes other than narrow-minded, because I have spores, miasma and melee builds on Warframe. But yeah, I mean, let me see, actually 55% ability duration. Anyways, I need narrow-minded, so yeah, forget primate continuity, you need narrow-minded. So with narrow-minded, we have Toxic Clash, drain 77.5 energy, doesn't matter. Extra damage is 96%. That comes from those power strength modes. And duration is 77 seconds, because I don't want to cast over and over and over again that skill. And Contagion Cloud, as you can see, the augment thing, effect radius is 1.7 meter. Duration is 20 seconds. Damage second that deals every second is 966 toxin, which is crazy. You may ask why I don't have effect radius, why I don't have range, because you actually don't need this. Also, before we, wait. I need to explain you this. On Miasma setup that I forgot to mention, you have that skill, Molt, but it doesn't always work quite well on the situations where you are away from your Molt. So enemies will not focus on that Molt and they will focus on you, instead focusing that thingy there. So that's why I prefer to play with my Miasma setup on low level places. For melee setup, okay, you've seen the build that I'm using. For that setup, I have Zov. Link is Ekvanajai 2, Grip is Plug Bokwin, and Strike is Plug Kripet. That gives me viral damage from itself. I'm not gonna go into too much into my what kind of build that I'm using, but Weeping Wounds, Warden Scorch, status modes, and then damage, a little bit speed, crit, and then statue type for melee damage, primate pressure point, and then bleeding below. And you can put arcane as well, like something like that, blah blah, come on, etc. You can do something like that, but I'm not into arcanes too much. So with that setup, you get your weapon to your hand, and then get your energy, and then simulate some enemies here now. So when you are here, you put your Toxic Clash and then just kill that guy, for example. And then when you kill that one, you can see that toxin here. And it is actually, no, yeah, that toxin. Well, I need to make them move actually. Wait. Don't pause AI. And then I come here. I put my toxic flash and then kill that guy. Come on. Okay. Now if I go back and when they close and they're gonna get the damage, as you can see, they are getting it as they are passing by. But the thing is that with this thing, when you deal and kill too much enemy, which Sanctuary Onslaught, they are melting in that place. So as long as you kill them, and then that toxin AoE is gonna, actually you can see it here. Oh my god, please stop, man, there's too much noise. Oh god, thank you, thank you, thank you. As long as they are on the place like this, they are gonna stack. If you kill 10, 20, they are gonna stay 20 seconds, and the small level of enemies gonna melt inside of it. In the Sanctuary Onslaught or some kind of games that you like to play, like with melee, I will say. So it is just very nice thing. If you are staying on one room, let's say from here to here is a room, and if you kill people outside and then you just come back to this place, and they are gonna stay inside of the AoE and they are gonna melt in the place. For that setup, I mostly use the mold. Why? Gives me speed, you see? Gives me speed. And it stays like 1 minute. You can see on the top right of the screen. Of course the speed is not that long, it is kinda 5, 6, 7 seconds, and then it is gonna go. It is quite useful if you are using melee. You just do it and then you just run through and you get speed. You can do so much fast damage. That's my setups that I'm using. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have questions, please comment below so I'll check it out and answer. If you have any advice for those builds, please let me know again so I can try to improve. But so far I don't have any problem with those, even though on 5 hours of survival, with some of them, like my spores setup especially, that I'm using on the first hand, that I like my first setup most of the time, because I'm like a relic player. But depends from people to people. I don't play too much Sanctuary, or I don't play too much low level things with that frame, except Hydron, when I need to level up weapon or something like that. So I can use Miasma setup to nuke, to help people as well, or to get focus, which is crazy to get focus. With Miasma setup, you just one-shot everything, and then you're getting crazy focus if you are not up to farm and grind over and over and over Eidolons, of course, in Plains of Eidolon. But still, this is player preference. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm repeating myself, but I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you on the next one. Like, comment below, and subscribe if you didn't yet. Take care of yourself. See you guys. Have fun. Stay safe, and bye bye.